Is he on board?
I'm executing the current 5 Kage.
What?
It's revolution.
Oh, this clash is gonna be epic, bro. I can already see it. I can feel it in my bones, man. Here we go!
Why are you so fixated on me?
Because you're my friend.
Just give up and let me cut you down already!
What? Universal pull! Oh, bro, this looks so cool, man. I'm cheering up the lightning dragon. Okay, Indra's arrow. Bro, he's gonna kill him. Jesus! Ooh, bro. They're both gonna die! Yeah, they're both gonna die, aren't they? Is it a cliffhanger? Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today again we're doing some Naruto content and I'm here for it, okay? This is a very interesting subject called Sage Kabuto versus every Akatsuki duo, okay? So this is a very intriguing concept because me personally I believe that Sage Kabuto can whoop all of their asses, bro. My man can father all of them. Well, maybe not Obito, but depends on the state of Obito. But this is gonna be a very interesting video. I'm gonna try and stay objective. You guys know I'm a fan of Kabuto, right? But if this is an Akatsuki duo, come on, Kabuto and Orochimaru should be together, and that's a wrap. But I'm assuming it's only Sage Kabuto, so him against Itachi and Kisame, right? And every other Akatsuki duo should be very interesting topic for a video, and my man 6 already covered it, so we're about to react to it. I'm gonna share my opinions as usual, and as usual Wednesday is gonna be Naruto day. Now it's the 1st of May here, so it's a holiday, so I'm still doing this video because I love you guys and I love Naruto and I miss Naruto content and all that, so let's do it. Of course I'm doing it one day before because tomorrow, while you're watching this, I'm gonna be somewhere having a blast. That because it's a holiday. That being said, if you enjoy my reactions, feel free to share, subscribe, all that. Join the Patreon, support your boy, like, comment, and let's go.
I don't get enough opportunity to talk about Kabuto on this channel, mainly because Kabuto versus battle topics are extremely hard to come by. But he's a pretty powerful character that, aside from today, I've only talked about one other time when I put him up against Obito. Today we'll be putting him up against all the different Akatsuki duos, and we're doing this gauntlet style. So let's.
Okay, so my man already covered Obito versus Kabuto, which I didn't watch. So if I did, I would have known what he thought about that. But it's even better for this video if I didn't watch it, so that's dope. And yeah, he's right. Kabuto versus Bells, it's such an underrated debate, and Kabuto as a character is an underrated character in my opinion, because people like to shit on him, but my man shits on everybody. I'm sorry.
Lay out the rules before getting into the fight. These fights will happen one at a time, and the Akatsuki duos will come in one after another. Kabuto will receive no break time between any of them, so if he does manage to get past the first few, he might start feeling the effects of fatigue set in and make later battles, harder for him.
That's not really fair, but I guess this is then a video of him literally battling the whole of Akatsuki. Like himself against the Akatsuki, only they're being a little fair and not jumping him, but doing it one way, like, I guess.
In order to balance this for Kabuto, I'm giving him the terrain advantage, and he can fight in the cave that he fought Sasuke and Edo Itachi in. So he'll be able to alter the terrain, at least to the extent we saw him do in that battle. I'll have chapters below for each Akatsuki duo section, so you can skip around if you want to listen to see how I think he fares against a certain duo. But if you're going to listen to the whole video, this will be the entire order. First we'll have Hidan and Kakuzu, then Deidara and Sasori, then Deidara and Tobi, Kisame and Itachi, and then finally Konan and the 6 Paths of Pain. To be extremely clear, Tobi isn't Obito in his team with Deidara. He will be in character as Goofball Tobi. As far as intel goes, any information Kabuto currently has on the Akatsuki, he will also have going into this battle, and the same goes for any Akatsuki members that know Kabuto. Given
That's an
obvious
advantage.
questions people would have about this, what this means for Itachi, we'll be limiting his knowledge to his Akatsuki days, since most of the intel he gained on Kabuto he did while he was no longer a member of the Akatsuki.
Later,
And
yeah.
if I wanted to give him that info in order to make the fight fair, I'd also have to take his left Sharingan, since that was also lost in that fight. Everyone will be appearing in their strongest forms, and what that means is Itachi will have taken his medicine that day, Deidara will have both of his arms, Sasori will have access to his puppets, Kakuzu will have all 5 of his hearts, Pain will be as close to Nagato as he needs to be, and Kisame will possess Samehada. Now, I'm pretty sure that's as far as I need to go as far as ground rules. Obviously, each fight will be to the death, and all characters out for the kill. But that's not saying I'm going to plug a controller into all of them and have them do things they wouldn't normally do. Everyone will be acting in character, using tactics they would normally have used in the manga, or a plan you could say that they might have made based on that information. We're going to start with a short Kabuto overview just to get a gauge of his power, and then after...
Okay, before he starts the overview, I have to say, those are some intriguing ground rules that I can follow. So I think this should be fair. If I feel at any point he's not being fair, I'm gonna point it out, as you guys know. But let's see.
Get into the fighting. Before we begin with that though, I'd like to ask you to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, as I'd really appreciate it and it helps the channel out greatly.
Go support
This
him.
isn't the first time we've seen Kabuto get jumped in this fashion. Obviously, we saw him take on 2 former Akatsuki members, that being Sasuke and Itachi, in a similar setting to what we've laid out here today. This fight is extremely important to Kabuto's scaling, since it's quite literally the only one he had. There is something I didn't mention in the intro that I'm giving Kabuto, since he had it in the main series, and that's Anko's curse mark, which provides him with an amp. I'd like to point out something interesting about Kabuto, and that's the idea of a quote-unquote perfect sage. Kabuto is the only one to ever use this term in canon, and I think that's important. The way Kabuto obtained sage mode is far different from the training process Naruto went through. Naruto sat and meditated, and even when mastering the form, couldn't maintain it for very long. Now,
True.
Naruto, without a doubt, entered full sage mode, but I think that there's a line to draw in the sand here between a full sage like Naruto and a perfect sage like Kabuto. The weakness Naruto has of exiting the form after a lot of his sage chakra is expended is one Kabuto does not have, as he can keep taking in nature energy due to possessing Jugo's Kekkei Genkai.
My man can do it on the go, bro. My man, as he's exerting sage energy in order to fight his opponents, he can gather it from nature. My man, a perfect sage, bro. Naruto fathered compared to him, bro. He's sage mode father compared to Kabuto's. Kabuto is a sage dragon, bro. So my man broke it. I'm sorry. But my man was doing those steroids, if you remember, taking in everybody, bro, Orochimaru, every gene pool possible out there. He became a mutant, but it worked. My man was hella powerful.
This puts his body in a perpetual state of sage mode, basically. Kabuto can kind of just chill in sage mode, even when in Izanami, after Itachi stacks another genjutsu on top of it, he stays in sage mode. This is important to Kabuto's fight overall, because sage mode should keep you constantly replenished in terms of stamina. Paul says something about this to Naruto when Naruto is training for sage mode. Unlike ninjutsu chakra, where you progressively tire because you're just using up your internal energy, with sage jutsu you're continuously taking in nature energy from the outside, and not only don't you get tired, you'll recover and heal quicker too. Other than that, Kabuto obviously has a pretty cracked out move kit, and after covering his moveset, we'll just move right into the matchups. I need to cover this move first, since it's integral to explaining another one of Kabuto's abilities, that being Sage Art White Extreme Attack. This attack is literally just insane. This is what Kabuto had to say about it. Light and sound knock out sight and hearing, a jutsu that causes the air to oscillate, to paralyze senses, freezing you in place. Sasuke even goes as far as saying the sound was rattling his bones. I want to go over what the data book says about this technique before going over how Kabuto's body reacts to it, but that part is insane too. Data book 4 says the atmosphere shakes like a dragon roar, the violent flash that snatches the senses away. It's a technique that only those who trained at Ryuchi Cave and mastered the Sage transformation can handle. It changes the natural energy gathered inside the body into a dragon of light and releases it from the mouth. It paralyzes the sight of sense and hearing with the light and sound that are generated immediately after, and the sense of feeling is paralyzed by means of the intense oscillation of the air, blocks the movements. With the corneas of a snake and internal liquefaction, only the jutsu user can elude its effects. So yeah, it's a pretty insane jutsu. Not
Broken.
only did it rattle Sasuke's bones for a short time, Sasuke was able to keep up his Susanoo while this jutsu was active until eventually he admitted he just couldn't hold it up any longer. Keep in mind, this is EMS Sasuke, way stronger than the one who fought any of the 5 Kage, and way stronger than the one who grew stronger constantly as he was fighting Danzo. Of course, this jutsu didn't end up taking Itachi Susanoo's down, but that's Edo Itachi. I kind of already spoiled it in the data book reading it, but Kabuto avoids this jutsu by liquefying his insides and shutting off his sight. So sight-based genjutsu doesn't work on Kabuto, and it's important to note that the liquefaction of his body lets him avoid damage in a lot of scenarios, like when Sasuke pins him down here with the Susanoo arrow, but he just avoids it and gets away by liquefying.
Insane.
Kabuto also has access to Teyuya's flute genjutsu, which when used by him needed 2 Mangekyo tier jutsu to break out of, one which is stated to be the upper limit of the Sharingan's hypnosis ability.
Very true, bro. My man used all of their Genkai's attacks, abilities. He has access to a very versatile arsenal, right, of offensive abilities. And yeah, Teyuya's flute is broken. He put them both in the genjutsu, and they needed to literally genjutsu each other with their powerful Sharingans in order to snap out of it. I'm sorry, bro. Kabuto could have killed them. Like, my man was not trying to, bro. He was trying to get Itachi back, and like, bro, it was such a good battle, bro. They needed a BS Izanagi jutsu to stop Kabuto. My man Kishi invented a new jutsu to stop this fool. That's how OP he is. So, and that was Edo Itachi. In this debate, it's gonna be alive Itachi, and that's GG's, bro. My man doesn't have anything he can pretty much do against Cave Kabuto, bro. And I'm not even bringing reanimation into it because my man doesn't even have to fight. I'm sorry.
He also has access to Kidomaru's webs, which by his usage required 2 Amaterasu to stop. And even then, they didn't burn the webs away. They just stopped it from moving. He then has 3 different jutsu he can use to control the terrain to his advantage. He can use Kimimaru's Bracken Dance to control where enemies go in the cave, use Jirobo's jutsu to move around any defenses, and Sage Art Inorganic Reanimation to completely manipulate the cave around them and impale them with rocks.
I'm sorry, bro. That Sage Art Jutsu, bro, that was crazy. That's so broken. It's like crazy broken. My man stopped using it because it was so broken. He pierced Itachi like 27 million times with that shit. But he was Edo Itachi, so it didn't matter. But still, man, alive Itachi, bro, that one jutsu, GG's.
And probably Kabuto's 2 greatest assets he has, the danger sensing awareness granted by Sage Mode, which gives him a pretty high level of precognition and spatial awareness.
Yep.
On top of having Edo Tensei he can summon and control. Normally prep time would have to be required to implement Edo Tensei into a versus battle, but Kabuto at this point has done all the prep. He just has to summon the Edo Tensei ready to go whenever.
Exactly, we saw that with Obito, because when Tobi approached menacingly to Kabuto, thinking I'm gonna kill this fool, my man was like, wait, before you do, like, hold that thought. Summoning jutsu, and then Madara's like, hey, bitch. He knows your secret, right? So he already has all this in his back pocket. That always pisses me off when people say, look, yeah, Orochimaru has a reanimation and it's OP, but he needs prep time. Yeah, but he's prepared, bro. He has it already. Like, my man he's not gonna go walk down the street without his Edo Tensei bitches, bro. So if anybody ever confronts him, he already has those guys ready to go, and it's GG's.
He so chooses. That's all I wanted to talk about for Kabuto though, so let's start talking about the actual matchups. Starting off with Kakuzu and Hidan, of course I think Kabuto is faster than both of them due to scaling to EMS Sasuke and Edo Itachi and characters of those sorts. Kakuzu's most important asset here is probably his diamond morph armor, but considering Kabuto's usage of the white extreme attack, it would force Kakuzu to likely just let down this armor. As we can see, Kakuzu can clearly see and hear while he still has this armor on, so it doesn't make him impervious to sound or light-based attacks, to which Kabuto could obviously just take advantage of and then eventually get him out of there. Hidan's Joshin ritual is probably their best win condition if they, would try to go for something like that.
True.
They would need to draw blood from Kabuto though to do it, which he can't do because Kabuto can liquefy himself and liquefy his insides, so that they could never land a unique attack on him like that in order to actually draw the blood and begin the ritual. Neither of them have an answer for White Extreme Attack, like I mentioned earlier. So when Kabuto launches that, Kakuzu would obviously drop his armor, and then Kabuto could get through all of his hearts and cut off his head if he needs to. And Hidan's not that strong outside of his immortality. And Kabuto, if he's able to render him useless like that, can just cut his head off too. Or in an extreme case, he can eat them, which he can unironically actually do. He can eat them.
True.
Neither of them have an answer for Toyuya's flute genjutsu.
Very true, bro. Already GG's, but the zombie duo was very dope. The design, I love the design, so I'm gonna give them that. Also, that's very true. And if Kabuto eats them with his Orochimaru snake, does he gain their abilities too, bro? Bro, I'm sorry, my boy Orochimaru and Kabuto broken.
So that's also going to, just tear them apart. If Kabuto lands it on them, they have no way to break out of it, and Kabuto would just beat them up. Then we move on to Deidara and Sasori. Now, it's questionable if Sasori's poison would even work on Kabuto, and I'll mention why. If you don't agree with the reasoning, then we'll come up with something else. But
I mean, didn't Orochimaru say that, poisons don't work on him, right? Because he's essentially a snake. And Kabuto surpassed him at that point, so my man became a dragon, so he should also be impervious to poisons. And also, he was a medical ninja, and also he has, right? So I think poison wouldn't work. Then again, even if it did, he can, again, liquefy. He has various ways to evade that. But Sasori would be a dope matchup because you would have to aim for his heart in order to kill him. And he has plenty of puppet distractions for you to aim at until you eventually figure out what his weakness is. Then again, maybe Kabuto knew some intel about him, which is he probably knew, right? Let's be honest, because I think Sasori helped. Was it Sasori? No, it was Kimimaro that helped Orochimaru and Kabuto kill the Kazekage, the first, the second, or the third Kazekage, I believe. Yeah, that's how he attained. Sasori killed the third Kazekage, and we killed the fourth Kazekage, Gaara's dad. When I say we, I mean Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Kimimaro. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, they have a lot of intel. Because, the sound ninja and all that was Orochimaru's thing. And, he had a lot of spies. So, Kabuto might actually have the intel on Sasori, knowing full well what to aim at. But then again, even if he didn't, GG's.
But what I think is Sasuke had resistance to poison due to Orochimaru, which it makes sense that Kabuto, who also has Orochimaru's DNA and training,
he absorbed them,
would also have that same resistance to poison. Now, we do know Sasori has some pretty high tier poison, but since they have poison resistance, do we really know if the poison would work? Now, I'm not saying it wouldn't work, I'm not saying it would work, but do we know if it could work? We really have no idea. So I don't want to just say that Sasori's poison would be able to take them out. Deidara's launch of C4 probably wouldn't happen due to the tight space of the cave, and even then it might not work on Kabuto anyway due to him being able to liquefy himself. If Deidara does happen to use a C0 though, Kabuto could probably just get out by reverse summoning, sort of the same way Sasuke did. You get what I mean?
True.
So it's going to be really hard for them to win. And Deidara's method of just flying away isn't going to work here either, since they're, in a cave, in an enclosed cave. So at any point in time, Kabuto should just be able to manipulate the cave, maybe get Sasori out of the Hiriko shell first, and then start beating up his chakra core, since he should have that knowledge on the Akatsuki, after doing all the research into them and whatnot. And he should have pretty extensive knowledge on Deidara as well, since both of them anyway, they were both reanimated by Kabuto.
Let's be honest, Deidara would be in a significant disadvantage because it's in a cave and he's a long distance fighter, so he would be in a disadvantage. Sasori is interesting, but he's not strong enough to face Sage Kabuto, so it's a wrap. But we also do know that Deidara is insane enough to use the biggest explosion possible in the cave, blow himself up and try to blow Kabuto up. But reverse summoning, Sasuke's exit plan can work for Kabuto too. So plus he can liquefy and shit. So Kabuto's just OP, man.
In the fourth war, so he should know what they can do. He even let Deidara out on a test run against Inoki on Turtle Island. So he should know what Deidara can do. And he should know what Sasori can do, what they're truly capable of. So he would probably just use like white extreme attack or something like that, or to use flute genjutsu, just something to incapacitate them and eventually beat them, since he should be much faster than them, like I mentioned earlier, because he scales the EMS Sasuke. And we know Deidara shouldn't scale that high because he barely scales the heavy Sasuke. At least in speed. As combatant, they're pretty relative. If not, Deidara is a little bit stronger, maybe. But yeah.
I don't know about that. Like, Sasori is a very intriguing character. Not gonna lie. Very intriguing character. I think he's hella underrated. But I'll save that for a different video. Deidara versus Sasori would be hella interesting. And we saw that Deidara had respect for Sasori. So...
Kabuto versus Deidara and Tobi is basically the same as the first round. The only real difference here is the fact that Tobi can plant bombs for Deidara, but these didn't even really work on Sasuke, who didn't have Sage Mode to sense where they were. So I don't really see the Deidara Tobi combo coming through and pulling out the W on Kabuto with Sage Mode here. Then we move on to Kisame and Itachi. This is where things sort of start to heat up. Itachi fought Kabuto before, although this time he'd have intent to kill rather than the intent to stop the Edo Tensei army. And I do want to note, we've never seen Itachi and Kisame fight as a team, which sort of gives me the impression that they both let each other handle their own fights. And
we kind of did against Kakashi and Guy in the very beginning of Shippuden, right? When they invaded the village. I believe it was episode 81 or some shit like that. It was a very hyped episode with the bells and all that, and Itachi packed them all until Jiraiya arrived, and they ran like little bitches, right? But then later we found out it was all a ploy for Itachi to save Jiraiya, basically, because he was technically on our side. Regardless, all that aside, they did pretty well. But even then, they were kind of fighting alongside one another, but they weren't complimenting each other. They were just fighting separate battles. So yeah, it would be interesting for them to actually work together.
Examples of this, like Kisame handled the Four Tails. Whenever they were fighting the Konoha people, Itachi took some of them, Kisame took the other ones. Same thing when they were handling Team Guy and Team Kakashi, whenever they were sealing away Gaara and they used the Art of Impersonation Jutsu. It's really just, I don't think that they have crazy good teamwork. They might, I'm just saying it's never actually been like on display, if you get what I mean. It's pretty clear that bare minimum, they're like pretty good friends, but we don't really know how well they would work together, how their movesets would complement each other. Itachi is not impervious to death this time, so White Extreme Attack might actually start doing some major damage to him here, as he won't have the Edo regeneration to help him recover quicker.
Exactly.
Kisame's ability to absorb chakra, though, it would normally be great, right? Like, it would normally be like a fantastic ability to have against an opponent.
But this is Seijutsu, so would he turn into a frog? Can he actually absorb this sort of attack and all that? So yeah, that's all, bro. I'm sorry. When you break it down like this, Sage Kabuto is a menace.
Kisame says, like, the stronger his opponent is, the stronger he becomes. But due to Kabuto having a particularly nasty chakra, since he's got, Orochimaru's chakra as well, he has Sage Mode 2. So Samehada might just refuse to even absorb Kabuto's chakra, because we've seen him do that before. Like, he doesn't like absorbing hot things, for example.
Possible.
So I don't really know if Kisame is going to be absorbing too much chakra here. And even then, would he just like turn into a snake or something like that? Or would Samehada turn into a snake or something if he took...
Yeah, I said frog, but it's actually a snake in this scenario because it's a sage snake.
Too much chakra from Kabuto. Even if Kisame fuses, it won't help much, since he got much stronger through chakra absorption from B at that point when he, initially fused with Samehada, and Samehada was transforming or whatever. Genjutsu won't work on Kabuto. It won't work. None of Itachi's Genjutsu are going to work on Kabuto. They're all sight-based, and he can just completely shut off his eyes. He even did this when he was fighting Itachi before, so he would know.
Facts. And if you want to argue Izanagi, it takes hell of a time to prepare, and they're in the cave and he's not Edo anymore, so Kabuto would kill him 27 million times, like in their battle when he was Edo, only he was Edo, so he didn't die. He didn't stay dead. But in this scenario, GG. So alive Itachi can't really hold a candle to Kabuto, but hey, tell me in the comments what you think.
This really comes down to like landing Amaterasu and if Itachi can or not, since it does seem to keep Kabuto at bay. Although Kabuto does say he can just like neg damage with his Orochimaru style substitution and whatnot.
He can liquefy too.
Amaterasu won't even help in this fight. but it would definitely give them like, I don't know, something. Like you could at least use it as defense or something like that, because Sasuke used it as defense and it actually like, you know, kept Kabuto away. But overall, I don't really see them taking Kabuto down this time, even if Itachi has the killer intent. He's weaker here since, you know, even though he did take his medicine this day, he is sick. He's weaker here, and he's with someone we don't know if he can work as well as he did with Sasuke with, even though he mainly carried that fight. So yeah, I don't really think that, you know, Kisame and Itachi are going to be able to beat Kabuto. Then we move on to Konan and Pain, and Kabuto should be stronger than Orange Mask Obito, at least, who like negged Konan. I don't think Konan's too relevant talking about here, considering, you know, she also lost to Jiraiya, right? So without prep time, she's really not going in there and, you know, about to do something big to Kabuto. Pain's really big jutsu won't work here either, like Chibaku Tensei, Chaotic Shinra Tensei, due to them.
Yeah, I think we already talked about this. I think even Suikage made a video about it. Sage Kabuto beats Pain, bro. I'm sorry. So, but he did say in the beginning, if they're in this scenario, they're fighting one after another. So maybe by the end of it, Sage Kabuto is so worn out that Pain can actually do something to him. But I still doubt it because we have a reanimation jutsu and we haven't even used it yet. He already bodied everybody.
You know, being in the cave and whatnot. Even if he did like launch a Chibaku Tensei in the cave with a black core, Kabuto could just attack it with inorganic reanimation. So yeah, that, speaking of, is probably going to be the Six Paths' main downfall, having to go up against Kabuto's inorganic reanimation, which he can use to just sort of attack whenever he wants to. Like he can attack from blind spots.
He can attack all of them.
And, you know, even if the Pains are all like looking at each other, it's going to be pretty hard for them to react to. This attack was like about to blitz EMS Sasuke, right? Like it was a little bit faster than how Edo Itachi could move with the Susanoo on. So I don't really see the Pains being able to get
and this jutsu is so broken that it took like full powered Sasuke and Edo Itachi with their Susanos and plot armor and Sharingan and right for them to react. Like Itachi pretty much saved Sasuke plenty of times with his own body because he was an Edo, right? And they still almost got bodied. So that's how OP this jutsu was broken. And you're telling me Pain bodies? Bro, there's no way. My man piercing all them bitches at the same time. Maybe Tendo Pain survives, but after that, it's already GG's.
Around, you know, the White Extreme Attack or inorganic reanimation. And with White Extreme Attack, they all get like blinded, right? And then you can maybe make an argument that it would even affect Nagato as well in his ability to use the Pains. So the Pains might like collapse after they're hit with that jutsu. Since Nagato can clearly hear and see through the Pains, he might get like sensory overload or something. And maybe even then, you know, it's supposed to mess him up. Like the jutsu is supposed to mess Nagato or the victim of the jutsu. It's supposed to mess you up. So like Tendo, even though he's obviously like the hardest hitting, he would even still be blinded. So you may be able to make an argument that, okay, he may be able to like deflect the jutsu or whatever, but since the ability sort of like lights up the whole cave, it kind of renders that defense useless, right? Like he pushes it away and it still just blows up, lights up the whole cave, oscillates the air, you know, heavy sound attacks, whatever. The Predator Path may try to absorb it, but I don't know if it would be fast enough since the attack kind of is faster than like EMS Sasuke. Do I really want to say the Predator Path is faster than EMS Sasuke? I don't know if I want to say that.
I mean, what if Kabuto creates a Shadow Clone, then one Shadow Clone uses inorganic reanimation, kills them with that, and at the same time, the original does the blinding jutsu? It's a wrap. So I'm sorry.
The Pains also have no idea what this technique is, so yeah, there is that.
Okay, guys, my editors cut the video here short. I guess that was it. Go support him if you want, but yeah, I agree with everything, bro. Sage Kabuto is broken. I know. I feel like. Pause. I seem like I'm dick riding Kabuto, but bro, I'm sorry. He is that broken. Tell me in the comments who of these guys can actually beat him. Nobody. I would argue only Obito and some advanced forms of Obito, like Jubito, right? Like not even. I mean, well, yeah, sure, Obito might stand a chance of survival because he can escape to his portal dimension, right? But he can't really... I mean, I guess with Kamui... I mean, nah, Kakashi has that Kamui that can rip off body parts, but still, Kabuto can still liquefy and regenerate, and has Orochimaru's snake action, right? So you can't really do shit to the boy, bro. You literally need a new jutsu to be invented to beat him, like Izanagi. And alive Itachi ain't pulling that shit because he's getting killed before he can do all the steps for Izanagi. So Izanami, right? So however you put it, nah, bro. Sage Kabuto is one mean mother effer, bro. He's strong as hell. And I'm here for it. I love me some Kabuto, I love me some Orochimaru. And in Boruto, they should really activate him again, bro. Get him to team up, because we know Kabuto is in orphanage, but he's still OP, and Orochimaru turned a new leaf. But they're so broken, bro, we should ask him for help. Like, Naruto should at some point ask them for help, and I have a feeling Orochimaru's willing to die for Mitsuki at this point. So I think they can... I think they can create a very good, impactful arc with Orochimaru sacrificing himself maybe for Mitsuki and his sake and all that. And there's really no limits to Orochimaru now in Boruto, nor Kabuto. Like, you can make a case that they can actually, like, don't have the ceiling on how much they can progress if the village ever needs them to, right? To train and actually do research. We know Orochimaru never stopped with research. So I can go on a tangent here for a very long time about my boy Orochimaru, but the point is, Kabuto is his student. He broken as hell, bro. I'm sorry. Tell me in the comments what you think, but that's all I have for you today. I love you guys. See you. I'm gonna go start my holiday now. Bye.